All right, so let's go ahead and open up, let's see, our coin and our health pickup. So here's our pickup and our coin pickup. What I want to do is get rid of that find first object of type code. And so we're really talking about this concept called dependency injection. And, for those who are studying programming, or really any kind of software development, dependency deals with, if you see here, we're dependent on this level generator class to be able to access this. We're dependent on this first find object of type. And so we want to kind of break this up a little bit. Let me just make it the health pickup and the coin, because we could always hit F12 and open up the script. Now, what we could do so let me see how to phrase this properly. So dependency injection, instead of depending on inside of the class itself, that it's depending on itself to find the object, what we can do is we can have it on the outside from another class, right? Like the level generator class. We could have the level generator class. We can create a method to initialize level generator to this.level generator, right? So let me kind of show you how we would work. Instead of start here, we're going to just write in ni init. Now, init is not a keyword that's built in. You could write the whole word initialize out. You could write hamburger. It doesn't matter. I'm just writing init for short. And then what I want to do is inside of here, I'm just going to pass in to my parameters here, level generator. Now notice that it's grayed out here because this level generator variable here is not the same as this one. It is local to this method. So these are two different level generators. So when I go in here and I'm saying level generator equals, notice it's grayed out because it's automatically assuming that it's associated with the level generator being passed in, this code here, and not the one outside of here. What this variable is doing is allowing us, let me undo it, is to access something. We don't know what that is yet because this is set to private. And right now this is really doing nothing at this point. So if I want this level generator here to refer to this one, you write the keyword this dot level generator. Now this is saying whatever this is, this variable here that we're storing, it's this one here. It's the one that's associated up top, not the one in here. This one. Now, you could rename this, put an underscore or something like that. It's just not necessary. Most engineers know exactly what you're talking about. And if you're brand new, this again is going to seem like word salad or a little confusing. But, with practice, you kind of have to do this. Like I always I do dependency injection pretty much as I can in all my scripts instead of doing the first object of type things. And all I have to say is I'm going to take this and I'm going to paste it in here. Now, when I hit Control S to save this, whenever this is called, now this is never called. So this big chunk of code here is not even being used at all. The only way it's going to be used is if we call initialize from another method, for instance, level generator, and then it passes in that level generator, and then we'll assign it to this level generator here. And this is what dependency injection is. Instead of doing this, where we're just getting first find object of type, which is very expensive because every time the coin pickup script is called, it's going to scan our whole scene looking for the score manager. One last thing, if this is confusing to you, you could just do something where it's like LG here, and then you could see if I highlight over this, it's saying parameter level generator LG, and then you could just copy this and then just paste that in there and save it. That's another way of doing it. I mean, it's really up to you. I just like being explicit. So, but the keyword this always refers to the variable that's up top, the global variable. Okay, I'm gonna undo that because I like it being more explicit. Now let's go hook up this initialize code here. Now, if you remember, inside of our hurdle class, which it shouldn't be called hurdle, it should maybe be just called pickup or objects or something, because inside of here, if you remember, we also have our health and our coin prefab being instantiated. So maybe we can call it instantiation class or something. I don't know. Well, that might give us an error because I think there's an instantiation class built into Unity. Anyway, long story short, we have the spawn hurdle. Let me kind of collapse that so you could see. And then we have select lane, spawn health prefab. We're going to need that. And then we have spawn coin here. So when our coin is instantiated, that's when we want to initialize, right? Because remember what this code is doing here. Let's move our code over here so we can see it a little better. this is where we're going to initialize our level generator. Oh, it is our health pickup, sorry. There we go, okay. This is where we're going to initialize our level generator, is going to be inside of our hurdle here when we instantiate this. All right, so inside of our hurdle class, what we're going to do is we're going to store a reference to the coin prefab being picked up. And if you look up here, remember we have a game object here called coin prefab that we can use. We can also create a local one because we have it there. And we don't actually need to identify it as a game object. We could just name it coin prefab or coin pickup as the data type. And it's a little bit cleaner because it's just saying, hey, right off the bat, I just want to refer to the script attached to the coin prefab. So the way to do this is you just write out coin pickup, which is the name of your script, and then whatever you want to name the variable. So I'll just name this coin pickup equals, and then whatever it is you're trying to instantiate here. We're going to get an error, but we'll fix this in a second. And what happens now, put this on, maybe I could break this into multiple lines. See if I bring this down a little bit. Something like that or something. It's a little bit longer, but. And then below this, we can call our initialization. So we can say, okay, coin pickup dot get component. And the component that we're going to get is the coin pickup script. And then we can actually call that init function from here, dot init. But we don't have a reference to, oh, did I not make it public? I need to make that a public. Oh, no, it's not coin pickup, health pickup, geez. All right, let's make this public here. And let's save this. Okay, let's go back in here. And we want health pickup actually, because what we're spawning is the health pickup. Oh, this is our coin prefab. Why do I keep... Sorry, I meant to add this code to our health pickup. So let me do this one more time. I'm going to cut this. It's a little early in the morning. Let's see, where is that health pickup? Here it is. It's down here. Okay, I'm going to paste this here. And then I'm going to grab this little chunk of code here. Paste it down here. Then we'll get rid of these errors in a second. So just for readability, I'm just going to put these on separate lines. Now, the reason we're getting this error is because you can't store inside of a health pickup script a game object. Because if I made this game object here instead of health pickup, we don't have an error because what we're storing is an actual game object. So what we have to do is we'd say health pickup dot get component, and this is what allows us to store the health pickup inside of that script, because what we're doing is we're getting the health pickup script. We're getting the health pickup game object here, and I'm getting that error because my angle brackets are off. There we go. So now we don't have any error. So what's happening here is this variable of type health pickup, we're just, every time a health prefab spawns, we're just grabbing that script from that health pickup object, and then we want to do something with it. So what do we want to do with that object? Well, we're going to do health pickup.get component health pickup, and then you could see we have this .init initialize function here. Now we have an error here because we are passing in a value, right, level generator, which we haven't done up top, right? So we could do something like this. Copy this, go all the way to the top here, and paste that. Or we could put it locally. Geez, I really make sure that you see, now we got rid of this error. And we actually, because we're doing get component here, we don't actually need all of this code. We could just do health pickup.initialize, because we have, every time one of these is spawned, it's stored inside of here. So each one that's spawned, we're just going to grab our initialize, we're going to grab and initialize the level generator. which I'm placing up here in our hurdle. Now, something else to notice too is our health pickup. Remember, it's they're not mono behaviors, right? They're not attached to anything. They connect to our pickup script. Just to kind of give you an idea, this is our pickup script, right? And all it's doing is it has a rotation. It's looking for the player. We rotate the object. As we enter a trigger, we call this pickup method. And this pickup method is here. And all it's saying is every time we trigger an object, we call this pickup method. And inside of here, it's not really doing anything except being a template. That's why it's protected abstract. So any class that derives from it, remember we're talking about inheritance, it'll call the onPickup method automatically. So just to kind of clarify here, and if you look at our health pickup, we have a lever generator .ground, change ground movement, all that stuff inside of our health pickup script. All right, so I know that probably was a little confusing, but so I'm just trying to clarify, like, why are we trying to access the level generator in here? Well, remember, we have one here, and it's doing, on every pickup, it's adjusting the ground movement speed, So this is automatically called every time we hit a trigger. Anything that inherits from it, even our coin, right? This increases the coin value. I'm going to have to fix that spelling. Here, let me hit Control-RR and just get rid of that T. All right, let's go back to our hurdle class here. Go down here to our health pickup. Now again, because of, let me hit Control-Alt-Enter to clean that up. Because of, remember, we want to do good programming, like syntax, right? So we don't want to just do get component here, like up top. We want to actually, again, use dependency injection. So I'm just going to go back into our, let me close this pickup class so we don't get confused. My health pickup here, and I'm just going to grab this exact same code, copy it. I'm just going to paste it below my level generator here. Actually, I want my variables to be kind of contained in their own area, so I'll do this just below start, because I feel like start and update should always be on the top. There's no real rule for that. It's just that, you see that a lot. So here now what we're doing, same thing as before, we're initializing and we're assigning the level generator coming in, which is that one, to this level generator here. And then so all we have to do now is we don't touch this, right? We're not finding it in the scene. We just call our initialize method here and we pass in the level generator. Now the jumping around part can be confusing, but the code is pretty simple. Like even if you look at our level generator, it's really not that complex, right? We have some stuff, a little bit of basic math that moves the ground, which the math shouldn't throw anybody off. It's the coding, the math that can be confusing because you're using words instead of numbers, and you have to kind of remember what each word represents, right? But again, we're just moving pieces. We're cycling through those pieces. Okay, enough going back because then the video will be very long and you'll be very bored. All right, so back to our hurdle class here. We're now injecting that level generator into this script versus the script going out to the world to find it. All right, so let's call this, let's initialize this level generator from our level generator script. So go ahead and grab your level generator script, drop it inside of here. And what we're looking for is we have spawn starting ground pieces. That's the first ones. Then we have spawn ground piece. And here is where we want to actually set up our level generator. All right, so let's refactor this a little bit just for naming. We have new ground piece. I'm going to start naming them GO for game object. You can see it even knew what I meant by writing out the whole word game object there. And the reason why I'm doing that is, let's actually make sure that we're adding that in there. This is new, each new ground piece as it gets spawned. What I want to do is I'm just going to create another variable below this, and all it's going to do is grab a reference to the, and what we can do is just call this ground piece. I think that's the name of our, I think it's the name of our script, right? Or let's see. No, it's called hurdle. So what we can do here is we can say, okay, hurdle, and that's this new ground piece, because these are really the same. I could even name this hurdle if I wanted to, but new ground piece GO, I'm getting an error because it's got the same name. So I'm just going to make a new ground piece here, and I'm going to say equals, and then what I want to do is I just want to grab that hurdle script. So I'm going to say from each ground piece that's being instantiated here, I want to get the component which is my hurdle script. Now, on that hurdle script, I want to make some changes, right? So, what do I want to do? Well, in our hurdle script, I just want to initialize this level generator script. So, as we instantiate each one of these the level generator here, you can see here we have these different ground pieces that are instantiating, and that's what we're doing here. So, all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to say I'm going to call that this instantiation method, and I'm going to pass in the level generator. So, I'll just say new ground piece dot init, right? Because we have, this is accessing that hurdle script. And what do I want to, I could just write the word this because I'm inside the level generator script. So I'm just saying, hey, I just want to initialize this. So I'm going to pass in this level generator script on every one of these ground pieces that are spawned in the scene. So I mean, I just wanted you to get, it's a little bit of it's a design, kind of a design thing in coding called dependency injection. I wanted to introduce it to you, just understanding that like it's a way of, again, the other code is reaching in and initializing this, the level generator versus us going out into the world to try to find stuff. I know hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Again, look at tutorials that exist on the internet. If this interests you, come talk to me. We'll go through it again. If it doesn't confuse you, sorry for the redundancy. All right, so here's the real test. Let's press play and see if our health pickups still work after all of that. So we got some money going on here. There's the health pickup all the way down there. Yep, still works. Still working. Everything's still working pretty good. Kind of having fun with this. All right. Okay. Why don't you? Okay, so I want you to do the same thing we did because remember, if we look at our coin pickup here, we have a find object of type, and I want to do dependency injection for this as well, and I want it to be for my score manager. So instead of a coin having to initialize its own dependency, which is this, right? We're initializing our own dependency. I want the score manager, which is this guy right here. Let me drag that in. I want my score manager to be actually be initialized within that, within our coin pickup. So a couple things to just sort of take into mind. Again, we're doing dependency injection. I keep saying it because I want you to know that buzzword if you ever need it for a job interview. But and right now we are dependent on, again, finding the object in the scene. Pause the video and see if you can trace back either to the front of this lesson and do this again, but for the coin pickup for the first the score manager or on your own. See if you could figure it out. That's going to really force your brain to sort of, I'm going to close. We'll leave our level generator open too. Well, actually, I think we could just close it because we're not using it anymore. So there's a couple things you need to fix your coin pickup here so that it doesn't, it goes in instead of out. Dependency injection, and then we don't need our health pickup right now. But leave it open because this will probably help because we want to create another initialization class inside of our coin pickup. So pause the video, see if you could figure it out so that we're now doing something like this, but for our spawn manager. All right, so how are we going to do this? Well, something you could do is just copy this as a template, and then you don't forget to delete it later. But we have a score manager here, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste this here, and I'm going to look at it. I'm going to say, okay, I don't need this line of code because I have a reference to my score manager, right? Just like we did with the level generator. Okay, and we'll leave this as a template, and we'll just modify awake like we did last time. So I could change awake to initialize. And what I can do here is I could say, okay, I want to pass in score manager. And because we're not really using the underscore to represent privates, I'll just delete that, private variables. And actually, I'll hit Control RR on this and just get rid of that underscore here. Unless you decided in your code. Okay, so now we have a initialize method just like this one, and we're passing in a score manager. So we have this dot score manager, right? Well, what is this referring to? Well, we could just get rid of the this because it automatically is knowing, okay, what are we referring to? Well, we want this score manager here to equal something, and we want it to equal is the score manager that's up top here, right? Oh, so actually what we can do is we do write this, sorry, this dot score manager, because referring to, we want the score manager in the scene to be the one that's being passed in. So I could just copy this and then we can get rid of this very expensive code. So now when I save this, you can see private void, and we're initializing the score manager, and I can delete this code so we don't have any more errors. So don't forget to get rid of that, the level generator code. So now we've set it up for dependency injection, right? We're injecting into this method the score manager instead of us reaching out. And let's go to our hurdles class here, and let's say, okay, so we're done. We don't need to reference our health pickup. We've got that code. So now we have this spawn health prefab here, and we've got all this code here. So what are we trying to do? Well, if we look up top, we had to create this, again, some dependency injection here with our level generator. And we have that here. So we're going to have to do the same thing with our score manager. So let's just go back to our coin pickup. Let's grab this code for the score manager. We could actually just grab all of this. Well, yeah, so let's grab this code here, go into our hurdle class and just paste it below. And you don't have to create, if you did, it's understandable because we oftentimes sort of forget some of the earlier programming stuff. And if you created a whole new method for this, it's okay. Another initialize, named like initialize02 or something, because you would have got an error if you made the same method. All you have to do now is just put a comma here and paste the score manager inside of here. And then what I can do is just grab that same line of code here and just paste it below it. So now this initialization method here is initializing both our level generator and our score manager. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now all we have to do inside of our spawn coin class here is the same thing as before, right? So we have spawn health prefab, spawn hurdle. We should really name them prefabs if, man, my naming conventions are off, but I'm nitpicking, I know. Okay, so we have spawn coin here. So what are we doing? Well, we want to do the same thing we did before, right? Where we're creating a variable to store each one that's instantiated. We want to grab that coin pickup that's on each one. So let's go ahead and do that. So coin pickup. We'll make a variable called coin pickup. We'll make it equal to this. And every time a coin prefab is instantiated, we want to grab get component. What are we grabbing? That script, the coin pickup script. And now this variable isn't really being used, but instantiation will still instantiate in its scene. So if we scroll down here, well, what are we doing? Well, we're just going to initialize the spawn. We're going to initialize the score manager. So in here, below this, I'm going to say coin pickup dot init. Is it not public? It's not public. Let's do public here. Sorry. That's why it's not working. Now it should show up. The init. Now, okay. And then, well, what are we passing in there, right? Well, in here, we're passing in our level generator. For us, we're passing in our score manager because inside of here, we're saying this dot score manager, which is this one up here, is equal to the score manager being passed in. So I could just grab this guy up here and drop it inside of here and save it. Double check that you don't have any errors in your code. Actually, we are getting an error now that I think about it. If you look down here, if I double click this, it takes us to our level generator. And the reason for this is we have new ground pieces here, right? And this new ground pieces object here is of type hurdle. And if we go inside of our hurdle, when we pass in our initialization, let's see, where's that at? Our init function. We're passing in a level generator and a score manager. So inside of level generator, where we're getting this error right here, because this is where everything is actually being initialized with the level generator, we actually need a reference to score manager. So I'm going to put a comma after this. And as the second parameter, so you can see if I put my mouse over this, it's going to tell me the reason for the error. It says, hey, you need a level generator and you need a score manager, and you're missing that score manager. What I'll do is I'll just go and copy this code here, and I'll make sure that it's a serialized field. So paste that, grab my serialized field here, save that, and now I can just pass in this score manager and initialize it here. There's my error. And that'll get rid of that error there. And if I select my levels generator here, you can see we now have an open area for score manager. I could just grab my score manager in there, save this, press play, and we got coins. These are working. This is working. So everything is initialized. The code is super fast, super clean. Now, the thing that, for those of you who are interested in being engineers and you still feel a little confused by dependency injection, you're going to see it a lot, and it's going to come up so much that you'll eventually just kind of, it'll click for you. Because with coding, people think it's this fast, scary thing, but the reality behind it is you do a lot of the same repetitive stuff over and over and over again. And so that's how a lot of engineers, like, they may feel like, oh, I'm a genius, whatever. The reality is they're using the exact same patterns. And so it becomes redundant and boring, to be honest with you. The fun part is making or coming up with the ideas. Anyway, keep coding, having fun, taking notes, and I'll see you in the next lesson.